Hello and welcome everyone to another StarCraft 2 cast by Glitch. Today we are going to be taking a look at a replay from the Korean ladder between Dragon and Vibe, spawning here in the bottom left position of Whirlwind LE. As the red Terran player we have Dragon. His opponent today spawning in the bottom right position of Whirlwind LE. As the blue Zerg we have ROOTViBE. Now both of these players, as I said, are playing on the Korean ladder, and both of these players are Masters level professional StarCraft players. Really difficult to get Grandmaster on the Korean ladder. And actually on the Korean ladder, most of the Grandmaster spots are held by just a few Koreans. They actually just continually make accounts, and so since the Grandmasters is just the top 200 people, just the top 200 accounts of any particular region, then it's possible for one player to take like the top 10 spots in the KR ladder, and that's actually what does end up happening a lot. So there's not actually 200 people that make up the Grandmaster Korea list. It's actually a lot less than that, but they have multiple accounts on that Korean ladder. Now, like I said, both these players very good players, and this is a little bit older of a replay. It's a little bit older of a replay, so the styles they're going to be going for is a little bit older, but they're Heart of the Swarm. They're in Heart of the Swarm, but they're about a month ago, so the style's going to be a little bit older. The reason for this being, the reason that I'm casting a little bit older replays is that it's really hard to find replays now, you guys. Oh my god. I've been scouring the internet trying to find good replays all over the place, trying to see whether any of my replay sites are still good, and they've all pretty much died. Like, people just don't really upload too many replays anymore. It's really rare to see pros uploading a lot of replays. So I've pretty much now have been forced to rely on websites like Team Liquid. Team Liquid, they upload a lot of their replays on Team Liquid. If you go to teamliquidpro.net, I believe that is the website. If you just search for This Week in Replays, it'll come up. But they upload replays every single week, but it's always going to be Team Liquid players. And Root Gaming also uploads games from time to time. So if you go to Root, if you just Google Root Gaming, that comes up as well. And that's how I found this replay, is because ROOTViBE on Root's website was able to find this game here that he played on the Korean ladder. So let's dive into this game here. Let's do some analysis, shall we? Now, Dragon has opted to go for this barracks and gasless opening into a fast command center. So it's a 1 Rax expand here from Dragon here. Fairly common opening, though a lot of players these days are opting to just not even go for this first barracks, just throwing down that command center right off the bat, because there isn't a whole lot that Zerg players can do about it. Now, in the base of Vibe's gone for a very standard opening. He's opened hatch first, followed by that spawning pool, but no gas being taken, interestingly enough, here by Vibe. Now, this is a little bit unusual. It's fairly common for Zerg players to get gas and get a very quick ling speed against... Ooh, nice little SEV pick off there for Vibe there. Dragon not paying attention. But it's really common to get Zergling speed here early in this matchup, but it looks like Vibe is just going to be opting to go strictly for minerals only. This is a little bit of a style that was very popular at the end of Wings of Liberty, going for a little bit later gas, taking a double gas at the 5-minute mark here. This is a very Wings of Liberty-esque style. So this is a little bit, you can already tell from that, it's a little bit older of a replay. Still going to be a really good game here, though, between these two players. Now, Dragon has established his command center, and he has started to take a third. This is really unusual here. Dragon taking a third command center this fast, but it's not just the fact that he's taking a third command center. 3 command center openings are fairly common, but what's unusual is that he's placing it right at the front, where Vibe is just going to be able to walk up with a few Zerglings and be able to see immediately that his opponent is going for this opening. Gas geysers have now come down as well. Bunker going down here as well for Dragon. Gonna need that because he's going for this fast 3 command centers. Needs his Marines to be as alive as long as possible. Now, he's only opened with 4 Marines, and now he started to throw down his factory and a reactor on his barracks, so it looks like he's going to be switching into a Hellion opening here. Meanwhile, on the Vibe side of things, he's just been sitting here droning. If we check out the Harvester count right now, we can see the Harvesters is currently sitting at around 33 Harvesters to the 26 of Dragon, so he's a little bit up. Most likely going to be seeing another base coming down here very shortly, but we do now see the Evolution Chamber going down, as well as the Lair Tech, as well as the 3rd gas now coming down here. around the 6-minute and 30-second mark. And still no third going, but man, there's a lot of queens out on the field right now. If we check out the unit counting station, 5 queens currently out on the field. That means that ViBE is going to be getting a whole lot of creep spread going all over this map, and I really, really like that. Really, really like that, especially on these big maps like Whirlwind. Really, really important to get that creep spread out so that you get as much vision as possible. Now, the Roach Warren has come down here now for ViBE, so it looks like he's going to be going into a bit of a Roach opening here, which is going to do well against what Dragon is going for, because as we can see, Dragon is now producing a lot of Hellions. We see 2 are now on the way, but I'm sure that we're going to see quite a few more coming down here very soon. We also see the Starport now coming down here with a Barracks building a tech lab. So actually, this Starport's going to be swapping onto that Barracks, possibly for a Raven. I would say that that is most likely what we're going to be seeing here from Dragon, is a Raven. Another option is a Banshee. He could potentially also go for a Banshee for some Banshee harassment, but this is not something that we've been seeing coming from Terrans quite so much in Heart of the Swarm. Ooh, and it looks like actually first we're going to see a Viking coming out here for Dragon. That's actually really, really interesting here that he would make a tech lab to start producing a Viking, because you don't need the tech lab to start making this Viking, but it looks like that's what he's going to be doing anyway. In the meantime, ViBE going for this fast third hatchery here. Actually, it's not even that fast. This actually came down here around the 7-minute and 45-second mark there, but a lot of roaches coming down here for ViBE, so it could be that he's going for a big roach bust here at the front. Notice still a 4th gas has not yet been taken here for ViBE, so he's being very, very careful about how greedy he is. He's actually not being very greedy at all. He's actually being very, very safe, taking his time, taking his gas very slowly, very well paced, getting up all these queens, starting to spread his creep here, and oh, all these units are just completely going to miss each other. ViBE's going for this roach attack. Well, in the meantime, Dragon's going to come in here and try to go for this attack on the third base. No drones quite here yet, but there are queens here, and it looks like ViBE trying to decide what he should do here. He looks like he is going to be pulling back with all of these roaches. And now with these Hellions coming out, no, I'm not sure. It looks like both players kind of having a little bit of indecision as ViBE is deciding to go back for the main. There's not a whole lot here to defend right now. All there is a bunker with 4 Marines, and there are no SCVs here pulled out quite yet. There we go. SCVs now being pulled off the line to repair that bunker. A lot of repairing going down there, but will that bunker manage to survive? There is now a Banshee out on the field here, so there's a limited amount of time that these roaches can do damage, but they are getting so many SCV kills right now. 1 Marine and 1 Banshee, as well as a bunch of SCVs, is all there is to defend. These roaches are +1 in upgrades. In the meantime, we do see Hydralisk Den has come down. The Hellions are now pulling back home as well to try to deal with these roaches, but Hellions do not do that well against roaches, and they're trying to focus these down as best as they can, and ViBE just trying to do as much economic damage as possible. Looks like he's going to try to move up this ramp, possibly go up into the main. He's already done a whole lot of damage. 36 workers killed so far here for ViBE. As he goes in, he starts to focus on that reactor. The reactor does go down here, but he's stuck on the ramp, and oh no, 4 Widow Mines instantly come up, and oh, giant hits from those Widow Mines, taking down all of those roaches there for ViBE. And now he's going to try to get into the main, maybe try to pick off a couple more SCVs there. But he lost all those roaches. That was not good there for ViBE, being completely stuck there in the ramp with those Widow Mines. Those Widow Mines were able to just decimate the roach count there for ViBE. But as we can see on the units lost tab here, Dragon has actually lost a lot more, and of course on the harvester count, 67 harvesters to 30. This third base is now fully up and mining. Main now mining very, very strongly as well. We do see that the 4th base now coming down here for ViBE. He's still continuing to increase his drone count, 74 harvesters to 33, so ViBE is in a very, very, very good spot. Now throwing down lots of spore crawlers because he knows that that Banshee is out, so he's a little bit worried there. Wants to be sure that that Banshee can't cloak and come in and get some damage done. Now somewhere around here we have a Hydralisk Den. I've been trying to find the Hydralisk Den, and I'm not exactly sure where ViBE put that Hydralisk Den. Am I just not seeing it? It's here somewhere. I promise it's there, because there are 11 Hydralisks on the way. So I know that they're out there. In the meantime, it looks like Dragon's going to be moving forward with a lot of Widow Mines and a good number of Marines, as well as a few Banshees here, but he needs to be really, really careful here, as there are a lot of Hydras now coming out onto the field. Is there any detection in here? Yeah, there is an Overseer here in that mix. Oh, needs to be really, really careful here. And wow, actually those Hydralisks actually outrange the attack range of these Widow Mines. That's actually really, really interesting. Do these have the upgrade? There's that Hydralisk Den here, is right above the natural there. Yeah, they do actually have that range upgrade, so that allows Hydralisks to outrange Widow Mines. That's actually a big deal that I did not know before. Really, really interesting thing to know. ViBE is currently up 135 supply to the 97 of Dragon. Still, Dragon hasn't felt safe enough to move out with this orbital command, but his opponent did reveal that he's going for these Roach Hydra mixtures, so it looks like Dragon is going to be transitioning into siege tanks. Very, very strong against this kind of mixture here. As long as you can keep them away from the siege tanks. These siege tanks do a lot of damage versus armored 50 damage. So that means against these roaches, you're doing 50 damage per shot along with some splash damage as well. So this is actually, they do a lot of damage to these roaches. And to the Hydras, of course, as well, because the Hydras are kind of glass cannons. They just don't have a lot of hit points to begin with. So this is could potentially be a very, very strong composition here against what ViBE is going for. Now, ViBE is still way up in the food count right now, 140 supply to 97, and he's currently starting to throw out more barracks, so it looks like he's going to be going into this siege tank bio play. We do have the armory researching some upgrades there as well, but he's going to be trying to take a third here, because right now ViBE's been mining on this 3 bases for quite a long time, and he's going up to this 4th, so he's very, very well ahead here of his opponent. Now, these queens are doing such a fantastic job of spreading creep. If we just look at the mini-map here, you can see the entire map is just covered in purple right now. ViBE's been doing an absolutely fantastic job of spreading creep all around, all over the map, so he has full vision of the map right now, but Dragon is choosing to move out right now with a good mixture of Marines, Marauders, some siege tanks, and some medevacs in the mix as well here. So ViBE needs to be careful. If he overcommits to Roach Hydra here, this could actually, it's possible to overmake Roach Hydra. You need to go into something a little bit more late game. This is a very strong mid-game army, but late game you need something else to really do the damage. Now, as we can see, he is starting to produce swarm hosts. We do see Enduring Locusts upgrade coming down, as well as Hive Tech here for ViBE around the 15-minute mark here. 4th base now well established. Just Dragon has just not been able to do anything to try to stop his opponent at all this game. He just hasn't had the resources to be able to do so. In the meantime, he's doing the best he can to just try to clear creep back, using a scan here and stimming in just to try to clear up as much creep as he can and then just pulling back. He does not want to stay on creep too long. Engaging Zerg on creep is always a bad idea. More and more swarm hosts now coming out here for ViBE as well. If we check out the unit counting station, 8 swarm hosts currently out on the field, and it looks like he's just going to be happy to let Dragon take this 3rd base. He knows the Dragon's taking this 3rd base, but he's still so far up in Harvesters. 78 Harvesters to the 59 of Dragon. So he's in such a fantastic spot here that Dragon, it's really Dragon's job here to try to do some damage here. ViBE just needs to sit back and needs to continue to macro, and yeah, we do see that the 5th base now coming up here for ViBE, but it looks like Dragon finally starting to move out and get a little bit aggressive. He's burrowing some of these Widow Mines, and this is actually a pretty strong little composition here. It all fits into one tight little compact ball, but these Widow Mines, if they're spread out properly, they can do huge amounts of damage. And oh, all the Locusts coming in from behind right now, starting to deal some damage to this army. Those things deal so much damage. Where are those swarm hosts? There they are. A lot of swarm hosts out on the field here for ViBE. And he's just trying to find a good position to put them in here. Dragon getting a nice position up here on the high ground here. But he needs to be a little bit, I'd be a little bit worried if I were Dragon, because there's so much creep all over the map. ViBE could opt to just go for a big counterattack here, send his entire army around to the front, and there's just not a whole lot there to be able to defend. And Dragon really is not in a position to deal a whole lot of damage. Looks like he's going to be going for a drop there, though. These units are flying over into the natural expansion here of ViBE, dropping a lot of units. One medevac does go down pretty quickly here, and ViBE is able to just pull back real quick. And this is kind of what I was talking about here. This position, being here, is not a particularly strong position here for Dragon, just because ViBE can kind of hold it here, and he'd even jump between here and defend against drops. No problem. Super easy for ViBE to be able to do. Now, in terms of Hive Tech, we don't see a whole lot down here quite yet for ViBE. I'm trying to see if we have any Ultralisk tech down at all, but Dragon looks like he's continuing to be aggressive one more time. He's going to be starting to move out here, and I'm trying to see, there's a buildings, yeah, structures, there we go, structures count. So yeah, we don't see any Hive Tech buildings out here at all yet for ViBE, so no Ultralisks on the way, anything like that, but these swarm hosts are going to continue to whittle things down. Oh, there we go, there's some Hive Tech for you. We do have the Vipers now out on the field, and so Dragon's going to need to be really, really careful about this. Vipers have 2 abilities that are very, very, very strong. One is the Abduct ability, which allows Vipers to pull units directly to them. Oh, needs to be really careful with these Widow Mines. Oh, needs to be so careful. Going to be moving in here, using those Locusts to pick up all of those. That's a nice little move there by ROOTViBE. Now ROOTViBE is coming up on a maxed army here, and I like this positioning of ROOTViBE. If you look on the mini-map right now, you can see that ROOTViBE is moving into a position here where he's cutting off Dragon from his reinforcements. So he's cutting off all of his reinforcements on the mini-map right now, moving his entire army in between there. In the meantime, trying to get into a good position to start to defend and to start to push into this attack. And this is the other great ability of the Vipers, and that is the blinding cloud ability. Basically, this creates this little cloud where everything under that cloud has a attack range reduced to just 1, basically to melee range. These siege tanks with that blinding cloud on it can only attack units that are directly in front of it. And for any of you that know anything about siege tanks cannot shoot anything that is directly next to it. So it basically renders the siege tanks completely worthless. And now he's just continuing to whittle down this army with a whole lot of swarm hosts. There are a lot of swarm hosts currently out on the field here for ROOTViBE, but he's maxed right now, so there's all that's here for him to do is to continue to take expansions and try to continue to just push his opponent back. Now, it looks like Dragon behind this is trying to take a 4th base here, but his forces are starting to get really weak. Look at all these Marines. They're really, really low. He doesn't have the medevac count to really be able to support this, and ROOTViBE is just continuing to remax here. He can actually kind of fight this cost inefficiently. He doesn't really have to engage this cost efficiently at all, and there we go. Blinding clouds going down all over all of those siege tanks as Dragon starts to move in, or as ROOTViBE rather starts to move in. Locusts picking up all those siege tanks, Vipers picking up some of those siege tanks and pulling him right on over to those Hydralisks, which clean him up real fast. ROOTViBE is in such a fantastic position. What can Dragon do right now to get back in this game? He needs to go for something a little more tech-oriented. I think these siege tanks are okay, but against those Locusts with Binding Cloud, he's just not really going to be able to do a whole lot there. He's going to need a lot more other forces here. The siege tanks are just not quite what he needs right now. I think what he needs in this mixture is actually a little bit of Hellbats. Hellbats would be good, but also a possible thing to do would be to go Ravens and or I can't remember, Sky Terran to get some air units out, try to get some air domination right now, because ROOTViBE is completely dominating on the ground front right now. With all of these swarm hosts here, he's just completely controlling this bottom. And look at this, these swarm hosts just going all over the place, going wherever they want, starting to poke into that 3rd base there. But it looks like Dragon has finally managed, if he can just drop that command center, he will have established that 4th base, and now he's moving out onto the field with all the siege tanks. This siege tank Marine style, I think, is just not the style you want to be going up against these Locusts. These Locusts continue to just wear his opponent down. He just keeps sending him in, and there's not a whole lot he can do. Look at how much damage these Locusts do. These Locusts are currently +3 in upgrades now, just starting to upgrade ground carapace here. ROOTViBE has just been going primarily just for this one evolution chamber. He hasn't actually ever gotten more than one evolution chamber. There we go. Siege tanks now sieging up here, getting a pretty decent position here, but there's a lot of units up to the north of this position as all those swarm hosts are just going to burrow and start to send in a lot of units at those siege tanks here. And now we're going to have to see, can these siege tanks hold off that many Locusts? Hydralisks moving in here for ROOTViBE as well. All these units coming down. Where are those Vipers? He needs those blinding clouds to be coming down. He's losing absolutely everything to these siege tanks, and ROOTViBE is now going to be able to push in just a little bit there until these swarm hosts are able to recharge there. Oh, and Dragon actually opting to go for the unsiege and tried to reposition himself here, but now all the Hydralisks are moving in here for ROOTViBE. Nice blinding clouds going down over this entire army there, and now Dragon just has nothing he can do against this. Absolutely nothing. Those blinding clouds keep rendering all of his siege tanks completely worthless, and now he's up to 4 bases. Now there is a drop going down here at this, God, what is this, 5th base? I believe this is the 5th base here of ROOTViBE. But ROOTViBE's in such a strong position right now. He's been mining for so long off of 5 bases, and now his swarm hosts are continuing to push in right now. It looks like he's going to be... Well, it looks like he's just going to be able to hold this for now. How far do these Locusts actually make it into this 3rd base? From here, I don't know if they can actually siege that 3rd, but oh wow, actually these Marines continue to deal damage here. This drop is doing a lot more damage than I thought it would be there. Looks like he managed to pick off a Spore Crawler, and yeah, it looks like these Locusts do... they are able to actually get in here, and just start to poke at that command center. And Dragon's still going for this Marine tank style. This is a style that is just not used anymore. And he does manage to get a nice little pick off of a bunch of swarm hosts there, as one round of Locusts just moved off there when with one little stim he was able to pick off a few swarm hosts there, and this is going to force a retreat. But in the meantime, ROOTViBE did go for the counterattack here with these Hydralisks managing to pick off a lot of the units here and do some damage here. If we check out the workers killed count, 51 workers creatures killed so far here for ViBE. This is just turning out to be a very, very long game, but Dragon is just not going up into the late game kind of tech that he needs to be going into here, and ViBE just keeps moving these swarm hosts around, keep harassing from all different angles here. And this is something that I think Dragon just is not going to be able to adapt to this game. I mean, his tech is already so well established, he doesn't really have a whole lot of options in terms of switching tech right now. And once again, these swarm hosts come in here, and now they are completely denying that third from going down here. And we do now see 7 Ultralisks on the way here for ViBE. He was just getting rid of those Hydralisks to get more units out, but Dragon is now moving across the top of the map here, going to start to try to deny some bases here, because he knows the swarm hosts are down south, and they are not very mobile. They're not very mobile, so he's just going to try to go around with a little bit more mobile of a Bioforce here, and there are a lot of Bioforces here in the mix here for Dragon. These are currently 3-2 in upgrades, and now these swarm hosts are going to start to push into the natural expansion here of Dragon, and Dragon needs to keep as many of these units alive for as long as possible, and I'm surprised that he's not actually going in here and just finishing off this base here. But now we can see that the Ultralisks are now out on the field here, and they're starting to come out, and they have been revealed to his opponent, and it looks like most of them are going to be sending down here excuse me, to the natural expansion of Dragon. And no, actually they're opting to go into this 4th base here. This is a planetary fortress. Will he be able to take this down? These are currently 1-4 in upgrades, and it looks like, yeah, Dragon's not even going to try to hold it. He's just going to try to get out with his SCVs. In the meantime, this base has gone down. ViBE's base there has gone down. Some swarm hosts have now pulled back here to start to defend against this push from Dragon here. In the meantime, Dragon's establishing a new base, and now it looks like all these forces just going to be pulling back there. He doesn't want to fight up into this ramp. It doesn't want to lose that army here. He's in a very, very good position there, but there's no reason to throw away units carelessly at this point. At this point, it'd be much smarter to just come back, finish off this army, save this base, and be in a fantastic position. But it looks like Dragon now moving in manages to pick off that thing, and now ViBE is actually not mining very much, but Blinding Cloud's going down all over those siege tanks, and all of those siege tanks, he's trying to micro them as best as he can, but these Ultralisks are just dealing so much damage. Most of the units get picked up there by Dragon, and he's just going to pull back home, but he just started mining on this. This is exactly what Dragon needs. What ViBE needs right now is to establish some more bases. It looks like he's going to be going for a secret base up north, and Dragon's going to be moving his units out here to come scout on that, but now the march of the Ultralisks begins as he starts to move into this base. Looks like Dragon's trying to move out and be aggressive one more time. He wants to try to split up his opponent right now, try to attack on multiple fronts and force ViBE into a situation where he's just having to defend all over the place, but he just ran into all of the swarm hosts, and in the meantime, all the Ultralisks coming from the northern position, so he is about to be sandwiched here with no medevacs to be able to do anything at all. No healing, no picking up and getting out of there, and Blinding Clouds go down on absolutely everything, and these Ultralisks absolutely decimating the rest of the army, and now these swarm hosts moving into position. In the meantime, these drops are coming in here, making sure that ViBE isn't doing much mining. Now keep in mind, ViBE, he's got a big, huge bank. He's got a giant bank, 7k minerals, 5k gas, but he's got no other mining going on. He's just established this base. But this drop could continue to deal some damage, and yeah, you can see he's pulling back. He knows that he needs to pull back here, try to deal as much as he can. Now, does he actually know about this base? No, he doesn't know that this base is up here quite yet, and he's actually planning to siege this base, assuming that that base has been retaken here. But it has not. If we check out the income right now, we can see that Dragon's income is actually way higher than ViBE's. Much, much, much higher than ViBE's. ViBE is actually down to just 29 workers here. This is pretty much his only army. I mean, he can stand to build more units. I'm actually surprised that he's not maxed right now. Infestors are now coming out onto the field here for ViBE, but I'm surprised that he's not just maxing with all these resources that he's just got sitting in the bank right now. And there we go. The Overlord does now just spot that base, and it looks like ViBE going to be moving up to that position to start to deny that from going down. Looks like ViBE in the meantime is going to lose this base from down here, and giant fungal growth goes down on all of these bio forces here, and I think ViBE is okay with using all of his fungal growth if he has to clean up that army, because there's just not a whole lot left here. In the meantime, the swarm hosts are going to be sieging this northern position. They're going to start to pick off this orbital command, and it does go down so fast, and now all of these SCVs are going down, and that is going to bring that economy collection rate all the way back down once again, and now ViBE is in an absolutely fantastic position. He has just maxed out on 10 Ultralisks. 10 Ultralisks currently in production, and Dragon just trying to look for a place to build a base right now. Still got this drop going strong here, but his natural is completely mined out. Main completely mined out. He has absolutely no mining going on, and ViBE at this point just needs to survive and just I think ViBE can just push in here, to be honest. But oh no! ViBE actually managing to lose a lot of his swarm hosts there. Oh, he lost so many to that little push there. Nice move there by Dragon, using his units as cost efficiently as he can. Now he's in a very good defensive position here with a whole lot of siege tanks. These infestors coming in first here. ViBE needs to be careful here, because like I said, he's got the bigger army. He's almost double the supply of Dragon right now. Oh no! But Dragon goes in, stims in, and takes out a lot of infestors. Get a whole lot of infestors there for free. ViBE needs to be really, really, really careful here. But all these other Ultralisks are now coming in here. And oh, nice little pull there of the siege tanks there by ViBE, and he's going to be picking those up, and oh, needs to be so careful here. If he loses this army, he can only remake this army so many times. He's already down to 2.7k and 2.6k minerals and gas, and now it looks like ViBE finally going to be trying to push in here for the win, but there's a lot of siege tanks there, and that's the blinding cloud that ViBE needs, as those siege tanks are now not able to shoot anything at all. Look at that, not getting off a single shot. Ultralisks now pulling into the main. Dragon's food count rapidly dropping, 41 supply to the 159 of ViBE. This drop is continuing to deal a lot of damage here, and ViBE has absolutely no mining. No mining and very few hatcheries right now. Absolutely no mining going on, but he's continuing to make more Ultralisks. 6 more Ultralisks on the way. Do we have any kind of Banshee coming down? A Banshee from Dragon would be quite nice right now, as the only thing that can really stop him is those infestors, and it looks like they are going to start to push into the main, these Ultralisks, and they're going to start to deal some damage. Will Dragon be able to hold? I think it's going to be really hard for him to hold this, and wow, looks like in the meantime this drop is continuing to deal some damage here, and oh, needs to be careful with those Vipers. Doesn't want to lose the Vipers, and there are just no bases for ViBE right now. If Dragon can somehow pull some kind of a miracle and use these units effectively enough to pick off a lot of units here, then he could potentially try to make maybe some kind of a comeback, but he would need to do something absolutely amazing. And as we can see, Dragon realizing that he just cannot win this game. His opponent has no mining going on, but his opponent has an army, and he does not. Down to 13 supply there at the end of the game. These swarm hosts finally managing to push up in the main. Beautifully played game by both of these players, and I hope you guys enjoyed that game. If you did, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that like button, and watch me live at twitch.tv/GlitchStarCraft. Also follow me at twitter.com/GlitchStarCraft and Facebook.com/GlitchStarCraft. Thanks guys so much for watching. I'm going to look for some more replays. If I can't find any more replays, I really want to get this tutorial series out. I've been making notes for this tutorial series, and I've been planning to do this tutorial series. I've got a lot of stuff in the works right now, so hopefully I'll be able to do some of that coming up really, really, really soon. Thanks guys so much for watching. Glitch out.